What's up, internet people? I'm Atank, and this is my channel Paint to Life, a channel where we paint miniatures for tabletop gaming people, hobby people, or anyone who's just interested in watching something during quarantine. Beyond painting them, we also create a story for them, a little bit of a backstory for heroes, villains. Anyways, stick it out, see what you think. Okay, today we're going to paint to life one of the most iconic Dungeons and Dragons monsters that there is. I mean, I suppose other than the dragon, which is kind of a big deal. And that is the Beholder. I have two kids and a wife upstairs. I asked them to be quiet. We'll see. Beholder, floater, eye tyrant, big ball of lumpy flesh, bunch of eye stalks. You might have seen them before. A Beholder is just a nasty ass piece of meat. It's a just wants to vaporize you. And if you've ever played against one, either as a player or if you've dungeon mastered a party that's fought one, they're just brutal. In addition to having all this magic, they've got an anti-magic cone that comes out of their eye. It's something. As far as like lore wise, they breed. They don't breed. They just exist, and then they imagine another Beholder in existence. They have a dream, and in that dream, out comes another Beholder. That's important for later. So today, we're going to paint this mofo to life and find out who exactly it is, other than a piece of floating plastic. So our Beholder story today starts in the ancient Netherese Empire, a long, long time ago. They were led by mages. They all had magic. And they got more and more and more powerful and more and more and more powerful, and they start slicing off the top of mountains and building cities on the bottoms of them and then levitating them into these massive floating cities. They were called enclaves. So in the Netherese forest and the lands nearby, a Beholder came into existence, but this was like unlike any Beholder that had ever existed before. It was timid. It wasn't maniacal. It enjoyed floating through the forest and interacting with all the creatures that were there, even though it couldn't communicate. And it gave itself a name and a gender. Her name was Vugrinec. Wait a minute, isn't a Beholder supposed to have 8 eyes? Yeah, here you go. Now Vugrinec would float around in her little Beholder body, and she would charm the animals of the forest. She would give them sedatives with her sleep magic so that she could go and lick them to decide which one she wanted to eat. And every time she did eat something, it would be paralyzed and asleep first, so it wouldn't feel anything. She just had a nature about her, not like any Beholder that had ever been seen before. So Vugrinec is floating through this forest. She's looking for things. She comes across some humans, Netheril humans, and they're working on one of these enclaves. She's never even seen a human before. So she uses her magical charms and slowly captures the entire building unit. So they don't report back, and she's captured them down there. So the Netherese, the High Arcanist, the hell's his name? Telemont Tanthal, that's it. Blue and purple. Telemont leads a dispatch of troops to find out what happened to all these builders for the enclave. Well, when he encounters Vugrinec, she defends herself, and she quickly annihilates, with the help of her charmed compatriots, they quickly annihilate Telemont's forces. So, he's in a bad spot, but he recognizes this is not like any Beholder he's ever seen before, stupid and naive and kind of dumbass. So what does he do? He says, I have more powerful magic than you can even dream of, and I will destroy you. Well, Vugrinec instinctively laughs, and she activates her anti-magic cone as Telemont starts to cast this massive spell. And of course she nullifies it, but in doing so also nullifies the charms and all the men that had surrounded Telemont. Bad news, suddenly it's an 18-on-1 situation, and Vugrinec, she just loses his shit. Starts crying, begging for her life, and Telemont has an idea. He says, I'll tell you what, you and me will work together. I want you to carve out tunnels and secret rooms in the base of my enclave. And Barixis is like, sure, why the hell not? And she's happy. She moves in, life's good. So Barixis does her part, carves out, excavate with her disintegration ray, holes in the bottom of the enclave, and everything's great. Telamon decides to start experimenting with the Shadowfell. The Shadowfell is the plane of shadow off of Toril, the main world, you know, whatever how you want to call it in your game, shadow dimension, whatever. So Telamon is practicing moving his entire enclave into the shadow realm and starting to tap into some shadow weave magic, and it's nothing he's ever done before. Barixis hates this, absolutely hates this. She doesn't even understand what's going on, but she doesn't like it because when she's there, she has nightmares. She literally has these terrifying dreams. She's never had dreams before, and she starts to grow paranoid. And as Telamon continues to take the Enclave to the Shadowfell, she gets more and more and more paranoid. So she starts making invisible force fields when she sleeps. She starts putting traps, and so be it, right? But she's afraid of the dark, and she does not like it there. Well, the Netherese have another part of this story. Anyone who follows Forgotten Realms lore would know. One of their high mages named Karsus decided one day that he could cast a spell that would make him become a god. So he took it. It was called Karsus's Avatar. He cast this one spell, and for a split second he grew even more powerful than the god of magic Mistral. Weave collapses. Mistral sacrifices himself to save it, and Karsus explodes and turns into a statue at the same time. Some kind of weird paradox. More importantly, though, all magic in the entire world stops working. First it surges with power, and then it stops working completely for like 10 seconds. In that time, what do you think happens to every single one of Netherese's floating enclaves? Gone, all of them, except luckily Telamon's, because Telamon had Philanthar in the Shadow Realm the day that all this happened. So they're over there just minding their own beeswax. Beeswax? Aging myself. Minding their own business, when suddenly they come back to Toril and find all of their culture completely destroyed, under attack from the other creatures and whatever. So Telamon, realizing that his whole culture's gone, takes the Lanthar back into the Shadow Realm permanently. Permanently! So of course all the humans in Netheril start getting all loopy and shadowy. They become shades of them former selves and in evil. And Barixis downtown, well, she is not having a good time at all. And what does she do? She's hiding. She's having these dreams. She doesn't like the Shadowvar, which the Netherese have become. And then we're talking hundreds of years here. Till one day she is so terrified when she goes to sleep in the dark, in the Shadowfell, where light and color and jovialness is all completely sucked away. There's Barixis. She has this nightmare one night, and from that nightmare spawns Ralakor. Now Ralakor is unlike any beholder that anyone's seen before. One actually spawned in the Shadowfell. And he is the absolute permanent anathema of Barixis. Like, this guy is just, he's made of shadow energy and shadow flame, and he just kind of rolls up into Philanthar and senses Barixis, just her presence, everything about her he can tell, and he starts hunting her down. And for hundreds of years they have this cat and mouse where Ralakor is looking for her, and Barixis is hiding constantly in fear, constantly in all these little lair places she's made under the Enclave. Ralakor grabs her finally one day, finds her, he makes her his slave, he completely drains her will to live, and then one day he turns her to stone and eats her. So Ralakor had come out on top, and for the next 1,000 years he would spend his time creating deadly traps and enslaving citizens of the Lanthar. He became the unspoken second ruler of the Lanthar, with Telamon ruling the top and Ralakor ruling the depths. So for over a century this arrangement worked its way out, until one day Telamon decided he was going to return the Lanthor to Toril. So again, with his magic, opened a portal, the Enclave slipped through back to the material world. This was the first thing Ralakor had ever seen of light, of color, of song, of fresh air, birds chirping, forests swaying in the breeze. All that he had were memories of his previous foe, Barixis, and her color and her joy, which he had destroyed. And now he was thrust into an entire world of it. So Ralakor fought with Telemont. He said, "We must return to the Shadowfell." Telemont chose not to. He believed that he and the Shadowvar were strong enough to set up a foothold high above the Oronok Desert in Faerun and re-establish the mighty Netheril Empire. So Ralakor descended down from the Enclave into the forest below, immediately set about destroying anything with his disintegration beam that was overly colorful. Anything that was alive got a death ray. He terrorized the landscape that was once the home of Barixis. He floated around for a while solo, destroying anything and everywhere he went, until a local sect of druids caught up to him. And they realized what they were dealing with, a beholder of immense power, jet black, with gray scales that absorbed all sunlight. The druids passed on information to the local towns and villages nearby, and word got as far south as Cormyr. Now in Cormyr, the king at the time dispatched a unit of purple dragon knights to go end Ralakor's destructive tendencies and the fact that he was like devoiding the land of life. When the group met up with Ralakor, he made very quick work of them. Using his already potent beholder abilities that infused with the shadow magics from the Shadowfell, he was able to completely capture and enslave the entire unit of 50 purple dragons that had been sent out to destroy him, forcing them to remove one of their eyes. He would remove both eyes if he had no use for you, but he didn't want anyone to have the ability to see because he was so angry with what they would see. His soldiers all had to have an eye removed, so Ralakor and his Grey Knights moved from location to location, sweeping into a village, destroying or enslaving everyone that they find. And now, it falls back on the King of Cormyr to do something about this scourge to the north, Ralakor, the Shadow Beholder. So that's the story of Ralakor, the Beholder from the Shadowfell. I hope you liked it. Here he is on my shelf, all finished up. 10 months ago, I had never even picked up a paintbrush, let alone tried to paint anything or, hell, create a YouTube channel, but now here I am. With the world economy the way it is right now, and as I make this, the COVID-19 lockdown has us all kind of shut in some places, this would be a great opportunity for you to try, because that's all you can do, is give it your best. And I promise you, it's less annoying than it looks. It's pretty fun, and frankly, paint to life really does make sense when you start to do it. It's amazing how they come alive with your imagination, and it just aids in the game and the story and all of that. You should give it a try. Perhaps make a Ralakor of your very own at first. I'm always a fan of supporting your local game store, so if you can get to one and you don't have any paints or supplies, start there. But if you are quarantined, by all means, get an order online just to give it a go. It can't hurt. Special thanks to Toy Trove in St. Catharines for donating the beholder that I used to paint today for the Ralakor. Really appreciate it. If you liked the video, like and subscribe, because I plan to do more of these, if just for myself and posterity. Thanks again for watching. I'm GM Atank, and we'll see you next time.